Uh, how did it come about? Well, I think I had just been mucking around for years and years with making funny little sound bites and stuff. Um, just getting random recordings on my iPhone, and as pedals were dying and things were dying out. And so there's so much music in that destruction. Um, I don't really know what to do with it. And so one day I was in at Rocksteady Records in the city, Pat Monahan, and he said, "I'm really liking those clips you're putting up." And I said, "Really? Really?" He's like, "Yeah, they're really compelling." I said, "Okay, what should I do?" And he said, do an album of it. You know, I reckon that would fit in really well here, there and everywhere. And I think it was just that little nudge I needed. And I'd had some favourable responses from clips I'd been putting up. And I just jumped on Jeff Lang and asked him if he'd want to have a go at a day of recording or two. So, yeah. It was all improvised. The whole thing was improvised. There was no no preconceived idea of anything. I just took a bunch of amps, a bunch of pedals, and a bunch of guitars that I really liked, and just set up and played, and that's what came out. You know, you start with an idea, get turned on by, plugging in my old 335 to a big muff pedal, and it would start making this sound and go, whoa, that would just suggest something. And it was just that natural. I'd just go with what was presented. Well, I mean, I love listening to music, listening to lots of different types of music, and I just really, um, I guess it's sort of a bit of a synthesis of stuff that I've been listening to, like maybe Frippinino or Gavin Bryars, Scott Walker, in terms of just having a shot at doing something different and not really caring what anyone was going to expect. So I think those are influences. I think influences in terms of I've been giving a lot of my good sort of playing over the years to other people's records, and sometimes you feel like you play your good ideas out on other people's stuff, but no, I think I saved all the best stuff in the stable, for this. He's so fast to work with. He's really brave in terms of getting on an idea and going. Like, he just brings a real natural workflow. Um, I mean, his ears are incredible, the things that he picks up on. Like, we would do take a piece, and he would have just earmarked parts. All right, well, let's shorten that little bit down there so we can get to this section quicker. And we would the editing was just sort of done after we would record it, and it would become a piece. And um, I mean, his incredible ears and his tone, the tape tone of his old Studer machine. Like, I walked in and he said to me, "Oh, that's the same tape machine that they used to record Pink Floyd live at Pompeii and Dark Side of the Moon." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So I was so happy. Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe some of the sounds would suggest certain things to me, like The Birds That Turn Inside Out. That's the name of one of the tracks. And it does sound like, birds sort of flying along at a really fast pace, and then they just suddenly turn themselves inside out. Or um, King of Knives came from a conversation when we were mastering it. Words Fail, I mean, that, was just a clever little play on having an instrumental album and not really feeling any lyrics. And I went that way. I've done albums with lyrics, and I probably will return to that again. But there's a lot of people sort of saying a lot about how they feel at the moment. But are you feeling what you feel or something? Yeah. Well, I think it's really freeing to do this. You know, I do lots of different types of gigs, and I think I just get really tired of form, of like bridge, chorus. It's got to do this. It's got to do that. There's a reason why all that stuff works, but I like to be really engaged in what I'm doing, and I had this really funny conversation about prog music. It was like a country song starts and you kind of know where it's going to go. A blues song starts, you sort of know it's going to go there. But when a prog song starts, you don't know where it's going to go or where it's going to end up. I'm all up for the journey. Like, I love getting in my car and putting on just some opus and driving, and, you know, I need to feel like I'm being taken somewhere, you know. There was some looping. That pedal there, the sweet 16-second digital delay that a guy in Uruguay makes, that was kind of the star of the album, because it's always recording. There's always signal going through it. So when it goes through, I just generally keep the blend off, and then at some point I'll just turn it up and see what it captured, and then there'll be some weird bit crushed sound that'll come back to me, and I can sort of freeze it and keep it looping. I can speed it up and slow it down. I can reverse it. I can manipulate it. You know, there are limitations to it. But that was on every track. Black Wave was played on this guitar over here. This is a 1961 Silvertone 1445. That was just an eBay purchase. It's got the speed hump pickups. I've got flat wounds on it. Really beautiful piece of wood as well. Flat wounds, yeah. There's a few guitars that are stars. You know, that one's got a particular sound. This one doesn't sound like that at all. Or my 335 baritone over there. That is on one of the tracks too. So, yeah. It sort of came across that way. It was just that was literally the idea of picking up my beautiful 335 and having an old Big Muff pedal, and that sound came out, and that just suggested for me to play. And when I started playing, I thought, oh, it sounds a bit like No Pussyfooting Frippanino or something. It just had that. But I think what makes this type of album really different is it's not a stagnant loop. It's always shifting. There's things happening. It's moving through cycles. It's a kind of a deep story behind that idea. You know, if you want me to go into it, I can. I was talking to a counsellor once, and I was talking about I work on a disability bus, how one of my clients had passed away, and I had all the words that I could talk around my grief and everything like that, and he actually said to me, yeah, I hear you talking about it, but have you actually felt it? Have you actually felt it? And then it just was like, I stopped, and I thought, wow, yeah, I've been finding all these words for such a long time. I haven't sat with the feelings of the amount of things I've been through. So I think that was the idea behind it, was an idea of just feeling something, not feeling like you have to talk or find words, because some things don't have words, you know. Some feelings don't have words, so. This guitar over here, this baritone thing. It's a normal guitar that's got really heavy strings on it. I plugged it into my other high watt, and it was just a massive sound. And then when I stepped on, I borrowed Jeff's old fuzz factory, ZVEX fuzz factory. And when I stepped on it, it was just, that's what it was doing. It was just like spitting notes, but like squashing them as well. And I think at some point I just thought, I want all the ugliness to just be so bold. I don't want this stuff to be hidden in the background of a track. I really want it up front and for people to feel the power of, the power of the music, but also the power of those sounds when you harness them and use them right. And I guess also Jeff liked recording it too because he didn't have drums, there was no bass, there was nothing else fighting for frequencies, it's just all guitar. So if that was going to be a big fat fuzzy sound, that was what it was going to be, and it was going to be glorious. So, yeah. That was an old recording I found on the net, an old Middle Eastern recording, and I quite literally got my iPhone over a guitar pickup and recorded it in through this little guy, and then froze it and turned it up, and that's, you can hear it come up in the track, and that's, oh, there it is, okay. I think I reversed it as well. For the launch, I've made a bunch of new things that I'm going to turn up and bring in as it goes along, yeah, because that was one thing, was the recording, but to do it live is going to be something else. I'm taking on a whole bunch of other ideas too, so. Oh, this guy down here, the Super Ego pedal electro harmonics thing. I'll show you. I'll try and set it up. So that type of thing. So on the album, it works a lot better because I've actually got that split out into another amp. There's two amps, so the drone sound gets split out left and right, and then the straight guitar is up the centre. So you won't get the separation because I've just done a little board here, but the separation on the album was achieved just by splitting the signal out. Oh God, I guess I'm treating it like a mega event or something like that. I'm just going to use everything I want to use. Probably be the 4 or 5 guitars I use on the album. I'm actually adding more to it all because I guess certain tracks have different fuzzes on them, so I'm going to have to put them in. And some of the sounds, I don't own certain units, so I'm going to have to try and come up with a way of making that sound. I just bought a Leslie speaker, which I'm hopefully going to use. So sound is always going to be moving. There's always going to be sound. I'm running a loop channel, which is going to be split out in stereo and via... This friend of mine, Darren Thornbury, Dazatronics, makes this stereo optical tremolo pan pedal, and I'm going to be using that just to send the sound left and right and have things moving all the time, there's not really going to be a lot of silence in the whole night. It's going to be moving. Everything is about movement, which I kind of feel this type of recording is for me. It's moving on, moving away from an idea of what I do. Yeah, Jeff Lang made some incredible film clips. I've made a couple as well, and I've just been on the computer editing all that together. So yeah, we're putting together about a 55-minute to an hour film of it. I've put little visual cues in so I know when to come up and play a loop and then change guitars, and so yeah, it's gonna be going along. I've been really breaking my brain over it, but I'm not going to anymore. I just think once I'm in there and doing it, I'll be fine. I've got a few opinions about some things. I think there was a period in time where instrumental songs and things were classed as songs, like Frank Zappa would be on television playing an instrumental. It was totally fine for the public to be presented with an instrumental piece of music and dig it. I mean, Hey Hey It's Saturday used to do it all the time. But at some point, people thought the affixing of a lyric to a song was what made a song a song. I'm not going to change the world, but I think people need to broaden their listening in terms of what they class as what a song is, I guess. I guess I'm hoping people find space in the music enough for themselves as well. I think good instrumental music leaves a lot of room for the listener to exist within it and to go into that land. Or some singer-songwriter songs, they're just telling you, they're just right at you, right in your face, and it's like, there's the fence, there's the feeling, it's there. But I guess good instrumental music will invite you in to explore what you're feeling, possibly. I don't know, that might be pretentious, but that's what I feel when I listen to great instrumental music. It takes me somewhere.